A very warm welcome to this ANSI-accredited allergy awareness course. My name is Sabrina Texador.
And my name is Dan Olk.
In addition, we'll call in the help of our adopted British person, Nick Eastwood. As in all our other courses, we don't let him talk as nobody will understand a word he says.
As we run through the course, we're going to demonstrate some simple and easy to implement best practice ideas and also provide you with some helpful downloadable guides.
This course is designed to provide you with an understanding of food allergies, where it can go wrong, and how you can help to minimize the risks to a sufferer day in and day out.
We'll be taking you through lots of ideas and support for the best ways to deal with food allergens to ensure that you keep both your business and your customers safe. Now, let's have a quick look at what you can expect from the course.
There are 6 chapters to study. You can either watch the videos or read the written content below this video, or both if you want. We are the only company that offers this type of option, and we find most of our learners prefer to watch these videos. At the end of the day, it's your choice on what best suits your learning style.
Now, once you've completed all the chapters, there's a final exam to gain your accredited certificate.
And on a final point, as we mentioned, there's also a download area where we have provided some extra information and help guides that you may find useful. Go to your admin area and download them whenever you want.
You may be wondering why you have to take this course. It may be a legal requirement in your state. A health official or your manager may have asked you to do this course, or you may own a business and you just need to find out more information.
I mean, the fact is that within the U.S., over 15 million people now have a food-based allergy, and the number is growing. I mean, over 5% of under 18s now suffer from food allergies, and again, that number is increasing. I mean, every year, over 30,000 people have to visit the emergency department due to a food allergy. I mean, that's over 80 people per day. And an even more frightening statistic is that over 150 people a year die from a food allergy.
Now, as we've mentioned, food allergies are a serious and growing threat, and you need to be aware of them. Now, simply put, a basic mistake could kill somebody. In both of these cases, staff of the restaurants where these children were eating simply hadn't checked the ingredients despite being made aware of the fact that these children had allergies. Now, any person who says that they have an allergy must be taken seriously, and as an industry, we have a moral and a legal duty to protect the customers we serve.
That's it for this brief introduction. Now let's go to the next chapter, where we're going to talk about allergens and how they affect a sufferer.
Welcome to the beginning of the course. In this chapter, we're going to talk about
What is a food allergy and how does it affect someone?
what is celiac disease and what is gluten,
Symptoms of an allergic reaction,
anaphylactic shock,
recognizing an attack,
and emergency procedures.
The body's immune system mistakenly sees a certain food protein as a threat and attempts to defend itself, sometimes with fatal consequences. I mean, even the smallest amount of an allergenic substance can cause a reaction that ranges from a mild tingling sensation to anaphylactic shock and even death if not treated quickly.
Now, since the causes of allergic reactions are still unknown, avoiding the particular food is currently the only way a sufferer can manage their condition. It's important to understand that this is not a lifestyle choice. This is a serious condition. Allergy sufferers, they often say that many food establishments treat them as if they're just being difficult or fussy.
The truth of the matter is that they have no choice. A simple mistake or lack of understanding when preparing or serving a meal for a sufferer, as we have already said, could quite simply kill them.
Most people will have heard of gluten and gluten-free food. Celiac disease is technically a food intolerance
Not an allergy.
to a substance called gluten, which is found in wheat, rye, malt, and barley. It's probably the most common and widely known condition and causes a sufferer's immune system to attack healthy cells. The gluten triggers a reaction which damages the small intestine and disrupts the body's ability to absorb nutrients from a food, causing serious long-term health problems.
In most circumstances, the body does not usually react in the same way as with an allergic reaction. There are no sudden adverse reactions, and as a result, it can take a sufferer years before it is correctly diagnosed. Nowadays, there are many food products available without gluten, and you will often see this highlighted on these products.
Now, you can find extensive information about celiac disease on the website shown in the written content on the page below. They also provide many recipe ideas for you.
It is vitally important that you're able to spot the signs of an allergenic reaction. The time it takes between recognizing an attack and an emergency assistance response can quite simply be a matter of life and death.
The type of reaction and how severe the attack is will depend on the individual person. Now, in some cases, even a very small amount of an allergen, such as a shellfish or even a trace amount of peanuts, can cause a severe reaction, including a potentially fatal anaphylactic shock. In a recent case, a sufferer with a severe nut allergy simply touched a menu that a previous customer had handled while eating peanuts.
The typical signs you need to be aware of are flushing, redness of skin and hives, abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea and or vomiting, a sudden fall in blood pressure causing weakness, dizziness, and even unconsciousness, difficulty in swallowing or speaking due to the swelling of the throat and tongue, difficulty breathing due to constriction of the airways, severe asthma, collapse and unconsciousness, known as anaphylactic shock, and all of these symptoms can lead to death.
We make no apologies about repeating the following. Any person who informs you that they have an allergy or a food intolerance must be taken seriously, and you have a moral and a legal duty to protect them.
This is the most severe and dangerous stage of an allergenic reaction, and you need to act very quickly to avoid a potentially lethal situation.
When a sufferer has a severe reaction, the body goes into what's called an anaphylactic shock. Usually the sufferer's blood pressure drops to a very low level very quickly. They may also experience swelling around the throat and usually a redness in the face. They will have difficulty breathing. They may become unconscious or alternatively extremely agitated. Understandably, they will experience a feeling of severe distress. Even the smallest trace quantities of an allergen can quickly affect a sufferer who has a severe allergy. Quite simply, the sufferer can die within minutes if not treated.
Most people who have a severe allergy will understand and recognize the signs of an attack and normally will carry an adrenaline epinephrine autoinjector, for example, an EpiPen. This is a rapid injector of adrenaline that will help prevent the anaphylactic shock from becoming fatal.
A key point. As you can imagine, it's extremely distressing to a sufferer and anybody who's helping the person. It's vitally important that you remain calm and quickly react to the attack.
We've talked about the typical symptoms of an allergenic reaction. We've also talked about the signs of a severe reaction, an anaphylactic shock. The most important action you need to take is to remain as calm as possible.
That's easier said than done. And if any of you have ever witnessed somebody having a severe allergenic reaction, you know just how distressing it is for both the sufferer and the people involved. Remaining calm can quite simply save someone's life. If someone starts to have an attack, you need to follow these 3 steps. Assess the situation, call for assistance, support them. Are they showing any of the common signs we described? Talk to the sufferer. Do they have any serious food allergies? Do they carry an adrenaline injector? If the sufferer has an EpiPen, ask if you can give them help. They may have swelling of their hands and struggle to get it out of their bag or pocket. Give the EpiPen to them and get them to inject themselves in the thigh. Try to reassure them and keep them calm. If they have difficulty in breathing, try to keep them sitting. If they have low blood pressure and look like they may collapse, try to lay them down with their legs elevated. If they are unconscious, Check that they are breathing and then place them on their side in the recovery position. Never leave the sufferer alone. At the same time, get a colleague to dial 911. Explain to them that the customer is having a food allergy-related anaphylactic reaction. Again, do not leave the sufferer alone, so always get a colleague to call. Stay with the sufferer until the paramedics arrive. Try to keep them calm and in one place. Tell them the paramedics are on their way. Try to ask the sufferer or anyone in the party if they know what the allergic reaction has been caused by. All this information will be useful to the paramedics. If they are unable to speak, ask simple yes or no questions that require only a nod or a shake of the head. Ask if they have a medical ID bracelet for information. Many sufferers will have information with them just in case of an attack. Provide any relevant information to the paramedics. Keep checking their breathing and condition. Dial 911 again if they start to deteriorate. When the paramedics arrive, give them as much information as you can. If the sufferer has used the EpiPen, give it to the paramedics to dispose of. As we've already said, this can be a frightening and distressing situation for everyone involved. It is absolutely critical that you remain as calm as possible, stay with the sufferer, and call the paramedics as quickly as possible. Simply put, follow these procedures and you could save someone's life. Congratulations, you've completed the first chapter of learning. This was a pretty serious chapter, and we wanted to explain what an allergy is and how it affects a sufferer.
At the end of each chapter, we're going to pick out a couple of key points that we feel are worth re-emphasizing. So, Dan, what's your key point?
It's important to understand that this is not a lifestyle choice. This is a serious condition. A simple mistake or lack of understanding when preparing and serving a meal for a sufferer, as we've already said, could quite simply kill them. So, Sabrina, what's your key point?
Well, we've talked about the typical symptoms of an allergenic reaction. We've also talked about the signs of a severe reaction, an anaphylactic shock. The most important action you need to take is to remain as calm as possible.
We'll see you in Chapter 3, where we're going to look more closely at the 9 main allergenic foods and hidden allergens.
Welcome to Chapter 3. In the last chapter, we talked about allergies, how they affect a sufferer, what are the typical signs of an attack, and how to react to an allergenic attack. In this chapter, we're going to detail the main foods that cause an allergenic reaction and the dangers of hidden ingredients.
At this stage, it's important to explain which foods can cause an allergic reaction. Now, there are 9 major food groups which are thought to be responsible for over 90% of all allergenic reactions. These include peanuts, tree nuts, which include walnuts and pecan nuts, milk and dairy products, lactose, eggs and egg products, soy and soy products, fish, finned, crustacean shellfish, crab, lobsters, shrimp, wheat, and sesame. Now, if you've taken a previous allergy awareness course, you'll notice that the addition of sesame as a major allergen. In January 2023, the FDA added sesame as the 9th major allergen. 1.6 million people have an allergy to sesame, which is why you need to be aware of this important update. Now, we're not going to go into a great deal of detail about the 9 allergenic foods. Instead, we've created a comprehensive PDF guide, which we strongly suggest you download and save. Now, on a final point, a concerning fact is that approximately 48% of all food product recalls are due to allergens. Now, if you're contacted about a product recall, it's vitally important that you follow their recommendations and isolate the food immediately. Now that we've detailed what foods can cause an allergenic reaction, we need to talk about what we call a hidden allergen. An egg or a peanut or even a shrimp, these are easy to distinguish. However, one of the biggest threats to safety is what we call hidden allergen or hidden ingredient. And you must take care when developing a dish or using an ingredient in a finished product. For example, you see this vegetable oil. That contains soy. However, did you know that on a barbecue sauce and a hot fudge sauce, these two also contain soy?
Another example of a hidden allergen can be found in chili sauce and steak sauce. I cannot believe that they both have anchovies, which is a fish. Way back in 2004, the government introduced Food Allergen Labeling and Consumer Protection Act, FALCPA. This means that all and every ingredient must be shown in detail on food labels to ensure that allergens are easily identifiable to both consumers and businesses alike.
This law was introduced to help the sufferer check for hidden allergens, as very often it wasn't obvious which foods might contain an allergen. And for this reason, the law states that all ingredients that relate to food allergies must be highlighted on ingredients panels. Now, you'll often see the allergen ingredients in bold or sometimes separated from the rest of the ingredients list by the word contains, followed by any allergen ingredients.
Let's give you some examples. Take, for instance, a pizza. You may know that the pizza base is made from wheat, gluten. It will probably include cheese, which is made from milk. But you will have been informed of this, and a sufferer with a gluten or milk intolerance will avoid ordering a pizza. However, what if someone with a fish allergy orders the special and it contains anchovies? Fish.
Yeah, and what if a nut sufferer orders a vegetarian pizza or a salad and you add pine nuts to the topping of the pizza?
Did you know that Thai curry pastes often contain fish sauce?
And a pancake mix may contain milk, eggs, and wheat. That's 3 of the food allergy groups right there, your triple threat.
Now, as a caterer, you may not want to change your recipe or remove the ingredient from your dish, but you need to understand which hidden allergens it contains, and more importantly, add this to your recipe list or menu and make sure all staff are aware.
Now, detailed below are some of your typical examples of hidden ingredients in commonly used products. Fish, anchovies in Worcestershire sauce or special fried rice, shellfish in special fried rice, milk in cheese, potato snacks, yogurt, butter, cream, nuts in Indian curry pastes and sauces and Thai pastes and sauces, as well as cooking oils and breads.
Soy in cooking oil, soy sauce, eggs and pastry, pastry glaze, gluten and bread, pastry, pizza bases, pasta such as lasagna sheets, wheat starch, stock cubes, and Worcestershire sauce.
The clear majority of sufferers are aware of their condition and will be very careful when ordering and eating out of the home. If they're unsure or they don't believe the information that you provided, they'll usually avoid any dish that has the potential to harm them. However, it is still your responsibility to be able to answer any question confidently and accurately.
If you guess, you could actually kill somebody. Understanding and identifying which foods can cause an allergenic reaction is the only way you can protect a sufferer. Hidden allergens are also a major concern, and this is where even the best operations can make a mistake. The time taken on recipe development and making staff aware is one of the key weapons in your defense. Hey Dan, what's your key point?
Sure. 9 food products are responsible for over 90% of all allergenic reactions. You need to remember those 9. A great idea is to download the guide and have it available for all staff. Sabrina, what's your key point?
My key point is watch out for hidden allergens or hidden ingredients and take care when developing a dish or using an ingredient in a finished product.
It's perfect. We'll see you in Chapter 4, where we're going to look more closely at the recipe creation, supplies, and storage. Welcome back. For the final 3 chapters of this course, we're going to concentrate on the systems, policies, and procedures you can put into place to help reduce the chances of someone suffering an allergenic reaction by minimizing the risks.
In this chapter, we're going to talk about communication methods, recipe creation, creating a system, adapting a recipe for an allergy sufferer, suppliers, and storage.
The procedures we're going to explain are for the most part common sense, and with close supervision, monitoring, and training should be relatively easy to implement. Most procedures you probably already have in place.
Reducing the risk of someone having an allergenic reaction can be broken down into 3 simple components: communication, preventing cross-contact, and thorough cleaning.
Communication is your key weapon in helping prevent an allergenic reaction. Every single person in the business needs to understand why these procedures are in place, as the most common fail point are the staff members who do not think they need the training. Another important point is to make sure that all new staff and temporary staff understand what is required, as this can be another weak link in your operation.
Team briefings are the ideal time to train, discuss menu or ingredient changes, and make sure everyone understands how they communicate allergy information to a customer. In addition, you need to establish a clear procedure on how servers in front of house staff communicate with kitchen staff when an allergy sufferer is eating in the business. And remember, communicate, communicate, communicate.
If you ask 10 chefs to create a popular selling dish, for example, meatloaf, they will all cook the same dish slightly differently. All the chefs, understandably, they want to add their own personality to a dish.
This is perfectly acceptable. However, as a business, you need to know exactly what's in the dish, and your servers need to be aware if there are any hidden allergens. At the end of the day, you need to provide clear information to the customer.
Now, here's an example of why this is so important. A restaurant owner failed to inform his staff that he had switched ingredients to cut costs, from an almond powder to a mixed nut powder that included peanuts. A regular customer with severe peanut allergy died before paramedics could attend.
The best way to provide this type of clear information, what we've just mentioned, thank you, is to ensure that all recipes are written down, ideally in a central recipe book.
If a customer asks a question, you have a handy reference guide for all the dishes. This means that the chef and the front of the house staff have a clear understanding of what ingredients are in a dish.
Start with the basic building blocks and use a separate sheet of paper for each recipe. Use a computer if it's possible. It's easier when changing an ingredient in your menu. You may start from scratch, or you may utilize ready-to-use products such as a stock or sauce. Whatever you do use, detail all the ingredients.
If you're using a ready-to-use stock or a sauce, for example, carefully read the ingredients declaration panel and look for any hidden allergens. They should be highlighted in bold text to make it easier for you to identify.
Make sure you write down any hidden allergens so you and any staff member can quickly see the allergens in a dish.
An important point to remember is to write down your preferred brand. Sometimes manufacturers use slightly different ingredients. This will also help you if your supplier substitutes your usual brand.
If you're using a finished ready-to-use product, for example, a hamburger, make sure you write down any hidden allergens.
Remember to add any new dishes when you update your menu.
On a final point, make sure you detail additional items such as the type of oil you use and any dressing or condiments.
Best practice. Have a folder available containing all recipe information. This is a great way of reassuring allergy sufferers and proving you run or work for a professional business that cares for its customers. In many cases, you'll not be able to change a dish to be 100% free of all allergens, and quite often, you will not need to change anything. A customer with a fish allergy will quite simply choose a dish that does not contain fish, as long as you make sure that there are no hidden allergens, such as anchovies in a salad dressing, for example. Now, if somebody has a gluten intolerance and wants to order a burger, simply change the bun to a gluten-free option. Again, check for hidden ingredients, possibly in the topping or the burger itself. Now, there are many replacement alternatives available nowadays, and some options, if you want to offer, for example, a gluten-free meal, is to have a separate set of dishes or food markers. This avoids overcomplication and mistakes. Keep the choices to a manageable level and start with the basics. There are many gluten-free pastas, breads, and sauce mix available, and as importantly, many gluten-free recipes. Keep it simple and manageable, and remember to make sure all front of house staff and the servers are aware of the options. At this stage, it would be good to talk about suppliers. Only use approved suppliers that you trust and who can provide you with detailed ingredient information.
If your supplier delivers a product that is not your normal brand, carefully check the ingredients panel to make sure the product is suitable. Watch for hidden allergens. Say, for example, you're used to dealing with this sriracha chili sauce, which you know has no hidden allergens whatsoever. Then you're sent another brand of sriracha chili sauce, an alternative. You need to cross-check the ingredients list, as you may not realize that this new product actually contains anchovy, fish.
If a supplier delivers a product without an ingredient panel, you must refuse it. How can you tell what hidden allergens it contains? For example, this olive oil, it says on the label here, flavored olive oil, but there's no ingredient panel. So how do you know if there's any hidden allergens in it? Now, if you're not happy with any product, refuse to accept it. Remember, you are the customer.
Inspect the delivery to check for any cross-contamination issues. A split bag of flour may have contaminated the entire delivery. In this situation, refuse the delivery completely. Make sure that staff in charge of deliveries understand what to look for and, as importantly, the reasons why you need them to check.
Many products such as pasta, flour, peanuts will be delivered in bulk bags, and it's normal industry practice to decant into storage boxes. This is perfectly acceptable practice. Make sure you have clearly labeled dedicated storage containers for named allergens with secure lids to avoid cross-contact. Clear, strong plastic, food-safe storage boxes are recommended.
Do not be tempted to fill an empty storage box with peanuts when it had previously been used to store flour, as the cross-contact risks are very high. Always use dedicated scoops to decant each allergenic product. Do not be tempted to use one scoop for several products. Try to store allergenic foods in a separate area. If this is not possible due to the size of your storage area, place allergenic foods on the lower or bottom shelves to prevent spillage and cross-contact. Make regular visual checks to ensure these simple steps are maintained. It is normal industry practice to remove food products from their original packaging before storage. Again, this is a perfectly acceptable practice. In this situation, you must ensure that each food product is clearly labeled with any allergenic ingredients the food may contain. Write down the information before throwing away the outer packaging.
In this chapter, we've started to create some systems to reduce the risks to a sufferer. Most of our suggestions are common sense and with a little time and thought can easily be implemented. Remember, you're putting these systems into place to protect the sufferer.
Key point number 1. Communication is your key weapon in helping to prevent an allergenic reaction. Every single person in the business needs to understand and appreciate why these procedures are in place.
Key point number 2. Take the time to create a central recipe book. If a customer asks a question, you have a handy reference guide for all the dishes. This means that the chef and the front of the house staff have a clear understanding of what ingredients are in the dish.
See you in Chapter 5, where we're going to look more closely at preparation through to service.
In this chapter, we're going to look at preparation through front of the house service. This is a critical area where most mistakes happen. The risk of cross contact is at its highest.
We are also going to talk about food preparation, cook, assembly of dish, front of house, self-service, menu information, and front of house staff.
Again, the procedures we're going to explain are for the most part common sense. A little time, thought, and consideration will significantly reduce the risk of cross contact.
Let's discuss food preparation and more specifically how a dish is cooked and how it is assembled. As we have already mentioned, at this stage of the process, the risk of cross contact is at its highest.
Stick to the recipe you've created. If you decide to add a new flavor or an ingredient, check the allergens and inform front of house staff if there are any new hidden allergens. If you want to change a dish or plan a new dish, give yourself enough time to make sure that all staff are aware and they have the recipe available if a customer asks. Remember, communication is vital.
One moment's lapse of concentration can have tragic consequences. A common mistake when busy is to use the same stirring spoon across several pans, cross-contacting an allergy-free dish immediately. And if you do accidentally cross-contact a dish, destroy it and start again. Even the tiniest amount of an allergenic food is enough to kill someone.
It is also common practice for a wok or frying pan to be cleaned with an antibacterial wipe between dishes, as the high cooking temperatures involved kill pathogenic bacteria. However, this does not remove traces of allergens. You must thoroughly clean and sanitize before using. An important point to always remember is that no amount of cooking can kill or remove an allergen.
Think about any other equipment you may use. For example, a food processor or blender. Again, these need to be cleaned and sanitized before use.
Have a set of separate items such as spoons, ladles, tongs, knives, pots, pans, oven trays. These can be stored separately, preferably in a strong plastic storage box with a close-fitting lid, and used when a customer informs the staff of an allergy. Now make sure that they are cleaned and sanitized afterward and not used for other non-allergen products when busy.
Also, a strict hand washing policy must be observed before preparing allergen-free dishes. All staff must be aware of this policy, including front of house staff and servers.
Most incidents of cross-contacting happen by mistake and usually at busy service periods. Our recommendation is to take some time and look at the workflow of the kitchen.
Is there a quieter area away from the busy preparation and cooking stations?
Can popular allergy-free dishes be prepared at the start of the day and stored in the cooler or freezer?
If your kitchen is not large enough to have a separate cooking area, the use of foil to act as a physical barrier is a great idea, especially on a grill.
Are front of house staff and servers aware of the cross-contact issues, and do they enter the kitchen on a regular basis?
Can you place allergy-free dishes at the pass, hold area away from the other dishes?
A great way to quickly identify a prepared dish for an allergy sufferer is to double plate the food. All staff can quickly identify the food.
Also, make sure that the server who took the order then delivers the order. That way, there's no breakdown in communication.
Front of house is another particular danger area where a simple mistake can have terrible consequences. The three main danger points are self-service, menu information, and staff.
Self-service areas that allow the customer to serve themselves are a common danger area, and the vast majority of allergy sufferers understand the risks of cross-contacting and avoid buffets.
However, that's not the point. You need to take every reasonable precaution to minimize the risks of cross-contacting and allow an allergy sufferer the right to eat from a self-service area.
Clearly display a notice or sign asking allergy sufferers to inform staff. A great option is to then offer a separately prepared allergy-free dish. This increases customer confidence as well as your business reputation.
Where customers serve themselves, separate serving utensils must be used for each food item to avoid cross-contacting.
If possible, have a member of staff available to assist customers and control the buffet. Staff can quickly replace food and serving utensils if they become cross-contacted.
Spoons, forks, and tongs carry allergens and can cross-contact food very quickly if not used correctly. It's important that separate and clean serving utensils are always available for allergy sufferers.
A customer with a food allergy wants to feel confident that the dish they are ordering is allergy-free. When designing your menu, make sure it clearly highlights any dish that contains an allergenic food. Try to include the allergens in the menu description.
Let's take the special pizza example. In your description, you could say contains ground beef, salami, chicken, and anchovies. Another example would be niçoise salad with pine nuts. Also add a statement to your menu. For example, before ordering, please inform your member of your staff if you have a food allergy.
If a customer asks you a question or wants to know more information about a certain dish, you need to listen carefully and, as importantly, write down the question. In a busy restaurant, it is tempting to just say yes or no and take the order as quickly as possible. You may have a lot of customers and be understaffed. The most important thing you can do is stop, listen, write down the question.
An extra 30 seconds could save somebody's life. Talk to the customer. Read back what you've written and get the customer to confirm the information is correct. That way you can go back to your chef and provide accurate instructions.
For example, just to double check, you have a gluten intolerance and you want to know if the steak sauce, the onion rings, or the salad dressing contains gluten. If they do contain gluten, you want a plain steak with French fries, no sauce or onion rings, and a salad without dressing. Is that correct?
I've stepped out of the test kitchen as there are a couple points that we need to highlight. You have now understood what the customer is asking and quickly have a meal alternative that has no hidden allergens. Another important point is be honest. If you don't have the answer, tell the customer and go ask someone who will know. A sufferer will appreciate your honesty and actually have more confidence when the question is answered. On a final point, some of the larger restaurant chains have a couple nominated allergy and gluten intolerance experts. This is good practice, and new or less experienced servers have someone to go to if they're unsure. The system usually fails when a new or inexperienced server just guesses. You must always encourage them to ask questions. In this chapter, we've concentrated on the actual preparation of a meal through to it being served to a customer. It is without a doubt a critical area and where most mistakes happen. The risk of cross-contacting is at its highest. A lot of the points that we've discussed are common sense. With a little time, thought, and consideration, you can significantly reduce the risk of cross-contact and mistakes happening.
Key point number 1. When taking an order from an allergy sufferer, the most important thing you can do is stop, listen, write down the question. The extra 30 seconds spent understanding the customer's needs could save somebody's life.
Key point number 2. If you want to change a dish or plan new dishes, give yourself enough time to make sure that all staff are aware and they have the recipe available if the customer asks. Remember, communication is vital.
See you in the final chapter where we're going to look more closely at cleaning. Welcome to Chapter 6, and congratulations! This is the last chapter you need to complete before you can take the final exam. To end the course, we're going to take a look at cleaning, as this plays a major role in preventing cross-contact.
We're going to concentrate on required procedures and front of house.
And you will in most circumstances have already completed your food handler or manager training. You fully understand the importance of cleaning in the battle against bacterial contamination and the risks from cross-contamination. It's exactly the same procedures when dealing with food allergens. Thorough and effective cleaning minimizes the risk of allergenic cross-contact.
Here's a best practice tip. Make sure that you have a strict hand washing policy before preparing allergen-free dishes, and all staff must understand the reasons why it's needed.
If you receive an order for an allergy sufferer, for example, someone with a fish allergy, the first thing you need to do is stop and think.
What do I need to do before starting prep? What ingredients do I need? Where are the ingredients stored? What food products are already in use on the prep area, cooking area, or assembly area? It may be that another chef is prepping raw fish. Is it worth waiting a few extra minutes for service to pass before beginning?
You then need to determine what needs cleaning and how before starting the prep. Cooler, freezer handles, preparation and assembly area, pots, pans, knives, utensils, plates, cutlery, glasses. What about your chef coat, apron, and hat? Are they clean? Have you just been prepping fish? Think of all the dangers that are present and then remove them.
Any sufferer will be prepared to wait an extra few minutes rather than risk the threat of a severe allergenic reaction. Tell the customer why there will be a delay. They'll appreciate it and have confidence in your abilities.
Here's a best practice tip. You'll probably already have a cleaning schedule in place. A good idea is to revisit the schedule and see if it needs updating to include the contamination risks from allergens.
An area you may never have considered is your actual menus and condiments. Just think how many hands will touch a menu or a bottle of ketchup in a day. If someone has an extreme allergy, even touching a menu or a condiment bottle that has the slightest trace of peanut dust left from a previous customer is enough to trigger an allergenic attack.
Also, make sure you regularly clean tables and chairs. Carefully clean up any spills with new single-use cloths and a sanitizer as soon as they happen to reduce the risk of cross-contact.
Most of you will already understand the benefits of effective cleaning from your food handler or your food manager training. It's exactly the same procedures when dealing with food allergens. Thorough and effective cleaning minimizes the risk of allergenic cross-contact.
Our only suggestion is that you relook at your cleaning schedules. Do they account for allergens? If not, what do you need to put in place?
Key point number 1, make sure that you have a strict hand washing policy before preparing allergen-free dishes, and all staff must understand the reasons why it's needed.
Key point number 2,
walk through your business and look for danger points. Only when you can understand the hazards or danger areas can you set in place policies and procedures to reduce the risks. So, that's it. Congratulations, you've made it through all 6 chapters.
Well done. That's a lot of learning to get through, and we hope that you've enjoyed the course as much as we've enjoyed sharing this information with you.
Now, it's time for your final exam, so good luck, and more importantly, we wish you all the success in the years to come.
And from all of the team, thank you, and we will hopefully see you in one of our other courses. Thank you.